Okay, so we covered the introduction session. We know the stories. Sri Haritayana is now writing the Tripura Rahasya on the request of Narada and Brahma, and he's telling the story of Parashurama and how Parashurama met Bhagwan Dattatreya after meeting. He meets enlightened sage after he's defeated by Sri Rama, Samavarta, and after meeting Samavarta, he now meets Dattatreya. Bhagwan Dattatreya has prescribed him sadhana, which is Sri Vidya Upasana. And Bhagwan Parashurama has practiced Sri Vidya Upasana for 12 years, and now he's come back. Why has he come back? You are on mute, Sumanji. Saying something?
He didn't find peace there. He didn't get what he wanted or what he was looking for. He understood that all this sadhana was taking nowhere.
So somebody does 12 years of upasana, doesn't find peace, then what is the hope?
That's what he's asking. He came back to Dattatreya. That's why I see. I did all that. Still, I'm not. I think there is something missing. You please tell me that.
So the exact sentence that he says in the text is, I did the upasana because my guru told me for 12 years, but all of that seems like child's play to me. Seems like mental play, mental game. Because I have to we do some visualization, there is some deity. Of course, it had a lot of good impact, good benefits. It purified me, but still it seems like a mental conceptual game. Now he's telling this about Sri Vidya Upasana. He's in his complaints or in his seeking now. He's come back and he's telling, I diligently did it. Just because I'm telling this doesn't mean I disrespected it. I diligently did exactly what you said. But my conclusion, my insight after all this is that bhakti is as conceptual as karma. So first he says karma is any action that you do is like action in the dream. It's a dream-like action. That includes bhakti. Any devotional, anything that you do, any sadhana that you do, is a mental concept. So what he's trying to say is, for some reason, I'm not able to cross over the boundary of the mind. Because whatever I do, whatever I think, whatever I conceptualize, still seems to fall within the realm of the mind. No matter what it is, it will be it the highest, we think you thought of Guru, thought of God, still is a thought. Still there is a problem. Okay. So before, and the answer that the Bhagwan Dattatreya gives is the answer that we'll discuss today. So today's session is going to be the understanding of teachings of Dattatreya through your own experience. Okay. So now, why have you people come here? You've already attended many sessions, Atma Darshana, then you've done meditation. Why again Tripura Rahasya? Shishadiji? In such cold, wearing jacket and sitting in front of the laptop, hoping to find what? Why this movement again? It's a movement, right? You decided to move in a direction. Why that movement?
Maybe intellectual clarity.
Intellectual clarity? Okay, what kind of clarity? What clarity is required? The truth is, I am that. Aham Brahmasmi. What more clarity intellectually needs? Suman.
It is just that the mind is so much distracted with the Maya that for it to get to the next level and for the mind to do some sadhana and then come out of the Maya, maybe it needs some more proofs or some more of these texts to keep telling it in different aspects that you're not true, you don't exist, you're just a thought. So
Okay,
maybe that
so
type of help
that-
is required for the mind.
So for the mind to become more clear and understand the truth through various different texts and ways, I have come back here. Okay, so now if you have already, the mind that has not already understood so far, what hope is there for it to understand more?
No, it has understood. From where it was started, where it is today, there's an immense change in it. The mind itself knows all those things.
Okay.
It is just that still Maya is somewhere still holding the reins and ego is still saying, I'm there.
Who is telling all of this?
Mind.
Mind is telling all of this, okay? So what you're trying to say is, right now, the mind is saying that there is more required. Okay? So you are waiting for a point where the mind will tell there is no more required. Is that a true statement?
It's not so easy to put it in words. It is the practical living experience and how things are happening and how the mind behaves. There is a small sort of growth wherein now the mind has to come up and then I have to lead a very just, a dreamlike life and that type of, that's happening. But I think for that, if I just sit with you and then all this satsang, there is a lot of emphasis and the mind knows where its place is and not to overpower and,
Yeah. So this is the key. All these are assumptions in the mind. Okay. Mind has a lot of assumptions. Now, mind has a lot of assumptions. And what is this assumption? It's simply something that you don't know. So simply put, you don't know. And you're feeling that I don't know with something. With borrowed data. With this borrowed data, are you trying to frame a journey? Whatever you said, the mind has to do, mind has got better. So that means you have made the spiritual journey as a progressive journey. Like I start from LKG, I'm growing. Then I'll reach enlightenment. It's not like that. So this journey that the mind has conceptualized, that I am somewhere, I will get somewhere, and there is a progression possible. After 10 classes, listening to 10 classes, I'll be more enlightened, is false. The self is the self right now. You are the self right now, whether the mind knows it or doesn't know it. Okay. Now, the problem is you're identifying it with what the mind is saying. It's like this. You know that does the sun go around the earth goes around the sun?
Earth goes around the sun.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Have you ever gone out in space and seen?
No.
Then how can you say?
That's what. There's so many theories that has proved it and showed it.
So many
Lots
theories.
of theories have shown and proved it.
Have you ever gone into space and seen the earth go around the sun?
No.
Never. Has anybody in the session here gone in space and seen earth go around the sun? No. Shriyans, have you seen? No. Shantiji? Earth goes around the sun or sun goes around earth? Imagine.
Both go around each other.
Both go around each other. Yeah, political answer.
No, that is the truth. Because this is
Both go
in
around
the
each
script,
other.
right? Earth is moving, so it can't be like it is stationary. It is also moving. So it's a relative motion. One is moving in very high speed, one is moving very slow speed. So you feel that The greater the movement is, like it is moving around the larger mass, but small mass is also moving with, because
Moving around the
Venus is
sun.
continuously
But
moving.
Earth moves on its own axis. But
Yes.
it is told, we learn that the Earth is going around the sun. But our experience is sun is going around the Earth. Now, this clarity, this conviction that the Earth is going around the sun is so deep that even if you come across a fool or a disbeliever in science, you will hold your ground. Will you hold your ground or not? Okay.
Yes.
Even if they put a challenge that, okay, there is a rocket available, let us go into space, you will confidently say, yes, come, let's go into space. And you will be defeated. You have that conviction that that person will be defeated, even though you have no first-hand experience of the Earth going around the sun. When your whole life experiences sun going around the Earth, right? Now, why when they said the sun, Earth is going around the sun, why did you accept it? Peer pressure? Or you didn't want to look stupid in front of other people? Everybody's saying, that means it is right. Why? Why did you accept it? Because it's a significant thing. The planet is going around the star. It's not the other way around. It is a very significant statement that somebody made. Why did you accept it?
It has some value, truth, I think.
Because it was scientifically proved.
It was scientific that you don't know. You have never seen the papers. You only see all the extract of those papers.
Maybe people have experienced it, and I'm believing in that experience.
Maybe people have experienced it and you're believing. So that means
Paroksha anubhuti.
you have paroksha abhipraya. Okay, you have an insight based on other people's experience or other people's teaching. But that insight has given you so much conviction that you're very absolutely clear about it. Okay, is that right? Now that is from a scientific insight. Now there is an insight about you, that you are Atma, consciousness. Why are you not able to say, okay, that's it, full stop, your consciousness? They said so, rishis have done research. They said so, any amount of experiment done on it, any years of meditation that I do, any sadhana that I do will lead me there, matter closed. Why is that not happening? Do you understand the question?
Maybe because we have already been in this society, and the society has tuned this mind into this Maya and ego so much that
Is that reality or assumption of the mind?
that Maya is strong is still powerful.
Is that reality or assumption?
Now it's assumption, but still
You never contested when they said Earth is going around the sun with such logic.
But that never affected my lifestyle or me thinking. Okay, it was very practical theory.
It never affected your
Here
life.
it is the lifestyle and the behavioral patterns have to be worked out on, or something like that.
Meaning what? What is the effect of enlightenment that you seek in your life? What do you think will happen after enlightenment? So what I'm questioning is, whatever we are calling, whatever we are after, whatever we're coming back to the session for, this mukti, mukti, mukti. What happens in mukti that you're asked, that you don't have now and that you will get at some point in time? What is that you're seeking in mukti? Kundanji?
Sorry, I didn't get that question. My son was asking for my phone. So sorry if you repeat it again.
What is missing that is making you come and sit here again?
Nothing is missing. Everything is complete. Only thing is like it is again in a session of Shravana that will basically I'm trying to enjoy it. Everything is there. Nothing is
Okay.
missing.
Okay. Shantiji, what is the experience of mukti?
It's like I'm not going to experience something. It's just looking at things with a clearer lens,
Okay.
with an understanding. It's not that I'm going to be something else, somebody else, apart from rest of the world or rest of the people.
Okay.
Yeah, it's clarity of mind, clarity of thoughts.
Which is not there right now?
No, it is there. I mean, I have come to look at. I did not come with. I did not even know there is a text called Tripura Rahasya. I came here. The foundation, since the foundation is built now,
Yeah.
that you are Brahman. With that, to get a different perspective, how it is told from a different text.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Rashmiji?
For me, I think, yeah, I hear all of this, but somewhere I am not able to see clearly that that's the kind of experience I have. Like I am Brahman. That's not my experience still. So that is what.
So I'm asking, what is the experience of being Brahman?
Like if I say I am not the body, I am not the mind, this world is unreal, I understand all of that, but still somewhere the world or the happenings in the world affect me. So my seeking is to reach a point where it won't affect me. I can see clearly that yes, this is unreal, that's not me.
Okay, so there is an understanding of I am not the body, I am not the mind, but there is, and the world is unreal, but there is no experience of that.
Yes.
So the question is, do you experience duality or do you experience non-duality? Pallaviji?
Sorry.
I experience non-duality.
You experience non-duality. So what is a non-dual experience?
I'm able to see much more clearer presence of.
No, audio is not
presence-
clear.
Huh?
Audio is not clear.
Oh, I'm able to see the presence of God in everything. I'm able to see Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma more and more as and when day goes, like as it was earlier before your classes. Now I'm able to see more of that.
That is not non-duality. There is still duality. No? So there is God, there is seeing, there is life, there is day, there is experience, there is experienced. So many things have come into play. So Prasadji, do you experience duality or non-duality?
Full on duality.
Huh?
Full on duality.
Full on duality, okay. Okay.
I think
Meenakshi?
yeah, it is very hard. I think from childhood, I think we've been like, I know it is all assumption, but then right from when you're born, you say you're taught, okay, I am this, I am this, I am this, and so and that's deep rooted, and not that's one lifetime. That's again, once it is assumption, but it's many more lifetimes, and so all I'm after is a purification, removal of the vasana. I think that's and then that's my seeking, and then the infinite bliss basically is what I believe is the state of an enlightened person.
Okay. Soumitra, do you experience duality or non-duality?
Not sure, to be honest.
You can be sure, no? How is it not sure? What is the other alternate? There is
But
no
But being sure is also a perception always, right? I mean, it's an assumption at the end of the day. So we don't know what is the reality. So why we are trapped over in understanding the reality at all?
No, so forget about we. We includes We
I mean,
makes an
yeah,
assumption of many people. So
Mhm.
my question is, in your experience, do you experience duality or non-duality?
Both or none, I don't know. That's what I mean, I'm not sure, to be honest. So I don't want to get trapped into the answer here, but I don't know, to be honest.
So if you don't know, that means you're seeking something that you don't know. So when you get it, how will you know that I've got it?
Because it will change my reality.
The thing is, it will not change. That is the thing. That is the point. How will it change? What is the assumption that you have that it will? What kind of change do you think will happen?
I mean, for me, as far as what I have learned, seen, understood, intellectually gone through with my experience, everything is relative. So just like you asked the question to Kundanji, right? Like if it is a sun or earth revolving,
Yeah.
if you see from the, I mean, if you keep yourself as center of earth, you will always feel that sun is revolving around you. But if you go beyond the realm of sun and earth, then you can see both moving at an equal, or I mean, in a different way, right? So it's
Yeah.
all perceptions and relative. That's what I believe in.
Right. So that is absolutely right. So that is in duality, the frame of reference always matters, and the frame of reference is always limited. It has limitation. Okay, the context changes when you change the frame of reference. Non-duality is unchanging. My question is, what makes you think, or what is your experience right now that makes you tell that you do not have that unchanging experience?
Because I'm getting affected on a day-to-day basis because of the happenings around me, because of the emotional or my whatever types of let's say attachments, materialistic, non-materialistic, the karma and everything which is attached to us. So I'm still being affected by that. And maybe to answer the earlier question also, my goal is not to go beyond the, I mean, personally, again, my goal is not to go beyond the circle of life and death, but be in it without being affected by it.
Okay, so you got you used three words. You used we, personally, and being affected. Okay, so I'll take I just want clarity on all of them. When you say we, again using what you said, it's a perception, right? You're superimposing your perception on multiple people and generalizing that they also have the same perception. Is that right?
Yes, yes.
No, is that right to do?
No, not at all.
So drop the we.
Okay.
From
I.
vocabulary. Okay, so I, right?
Yeah.
Now you tell the statement.
I don't want to get away from the circle of life and death, but I don't want to get affected by the entrapments of the circle of life and death.
Center. Okay, so I don't want to get affected by the cycle of life and death, and me not being affected by the cycle of life and death is called non-duality.
No, I don't know. Sorry for that. I mean,
okay. Now, when you say I don't want to be affected, who doesn't want to be affected?
My soul, my mind, or
soul is not affected. Soul is Atma. Atma is pure. Atma nothing can ever touch Atma. So soul, the word for soul, that the right word is Atma, self. So self is beyond the touch of Maya. So imagine like this: you have a dream. In that you see a dream world. The dream world never touches the waking you, right? In the same way, the Maya never touches Brahman, self, Atma. So Atma is never affected. Who is affected?
My assumptions and my perception to the reality of what I have kind of created around me.
Assumptions are affected? Or
my
assumptions are affected is an assumption. To say that assumptions are affected is an assumption, right?
Yes.
Assumption is what? Data. It's a record. Like computer has some memory, right? Assumption is equivalent to that. How can they? It's insentient. Insentient is not you, because you are there even when you don't have assumption. So right now you don't have an assumption probably of how it is to live in Japan. It doesn't affect you in any way. So how can to tell that assumptions are affected is meaningless. So who is getting affected? Do you get the question?
Oh, partially, yes.
What is the second part that you didn't get? The question is, you made the statement, I don't want to get affected by life, turbulences, birth and death. My question is, who is that who is saying who doesn't want to get affected? Somebody is getting affected. There is a feeling that somebody is getting affected. Who is that somebody?
The reality which I have created around me based on my perception of reality.
The reality which I have created. You have the power to create reality? Or you have the power to perceive what is shown to you?
Perception, yeah.
You have no power to create the cow. Or you have no power to create the tree. But you can only perceive it, interpret it. So make the statement.
My perceptions are getting affected.
That is a perception. My perceptions are getting affected is a perception. How can a perception get affected? And even if a perception get affected, it's a perception. It's unreal. How does it matter? Do you see the point? This process is called Vichara.
Okay.
So Bhagavan Dattatreya starts this process now. This process of calling out all the assumptions of the mind through a very sharp light, so of the clarity of the Guru that the Guru has, is called Vichara. So it's like equivalent to the policeman. The mind is like you can think of the mind as a thief. When the mind gets caught, the mind starts giving all sorts of answers, because now you're cornered. In reality, the mind has no stuff, because all stuff belongs to consciousness, reality. The mind is only borrowed a lot of assumptions, and it builds a identity, it builds world, it builds layers of assumptions, and it also builds the notion that it's all true. Okay, and it goes on in circles. So nothing is there, it just keeps on going in circles. All right. Now, at one point, for whatever reason, the mind comes in contact with the no mind. Okay. That time, the Guru starts questioning the mind. Now, the questioning, please understand, is not another thought process. Vichara is not thought. Why Vichara is not thought? Vichara is not imagination. Vichara is not thought. Vichara is just pure light. It's like you are in a dark room, you cannot see anything. So then you start imagining so many things are there. Then you find a torch. Okay, from whatever luck, you find torch. The moment you switch on the torch, there is no thought required. The light itself reveals what is there. You understand? When the light is absent, you need thought. The thinking is required in the absence of gnana. When Atma-gnana is there and Vichara is there, the thought shuts down. There's no need. You can see now. This is the importance of this is the process of Vichara, and this is the importance of Vichara, which can only happen in this dialogue. So when that Parashurama goes now and tells Bhagavan Dattatreya that I have tried out everything, and it all seems like a mental game, and he bows down. Now you teach me. Dattatreya is happy that he's understood the most fundamental thing, that is all a mental game. All sadhanas, any sadhana that is prescribed, okay, have limitations, because they're all still in the realm of the mind, thinking. Okay. Now then you say, oh, then why people go to temple? Why people go to Tirtha Kshetra? All that experiences uplifts the mind, it purifies the mind, so that you're ready for Vichara. Okay. So before going into Vichara, Bhagavan Dattatreya clarifies. He tells him, because he made the statement, even my worship of the Mother Tripura is a mental concept. So Dattatreya tells him, what you're saying is true. However, that is the way people grow. The mind needs to be first purified so that it can understand the teachings of the Guru through Vichara. So what Bhagavan Dattatreya tells is, he tells, first the Devi, the Tripura Devi, appears in your life as Guru. Okay. Then the Guru, now in this case Dattatreya, has given him the method of Upasana. Then in the method of Upasana, she appeared as the form that he worships in front. Then she took on the internal form in the heart. First, Parashurama started with worshipping the divine form outside. That is equivalent to worship in temple and the idols. Then the Devi takes the internal form. Then no more the external support is required. He is able to experience the same divinity inside. Now that is not the end. Now the next stage, the Devi appears as Vichara in you. The Tripura Devi appears as Vichara. What is Vichara? This process of examining, calling out the games and tricks of the mind. Is it clear so far? Where is the Pallaviji? It disappeared? Is it clear, Pallaviji?
Yes.
The Divine Mother appears as Vichara. So all the sadhana, that Bhagavan Dattatreya says, whatever you have done, you've gone to Tirthayatra, you've done yogasana, you've done breathing, you've done meditation, thousands of hours of meditation, you've attended satsang, you've done dana, whatever, all sadhanas ultimately culminates and fructifies as these three: Guru, Vichara. And Devi appears as both, externally as the Guru, and then she appears as Vichara and helps you see in the light of Vichara. So today we'll be taking up the process of Vichara. Any doubts so far? And Vichara is not a teaching. Vichara is not, okay, now let us find out what is the self. Vichara is the Guru doing the job of the policeman, asking you the right questions, okay? Trying to uncover why are you giving the answers and why are you having these perceptions, and ultimately to help you reach a point where you come up with the right answer. In the case of the example, the policeman asks the questions and ultimately the thief tells where the stolen gold is. But here, in Vichara, what happens is the questioning will lead to silence, because there's no answer that can be told. Ultimately, it is a deep peace, deep clarity, unshakable clarity, just the way you have unshakable clarity that the earth goes around the sun without even experiencing it. Okay? Unshakable clarity, I am Brahman. And once that unshakable clarity is illumined, it is a point of no return. It's called a point of no return. Once you're clear, you're clear. in dream, in waking, in whatever state you are, whatever state the mind and body is, has no effect. It doesn't change that, doesn't shake that. Is it clear? What is Vichara? Any doubts so far?
Guruji,
Yeah.
can we say Vichara is a process and Viveka is the end result?
Vichara is a process. Viveka. So Viveka is Gnana, right? You're clear about what is Atma, what is Anatma. So which Viveka is Atma, Anatma Viveka, Nitya, Anitya Viveka. So yes, Vichara is the process, and Viveka is like Vichara is the what is that? Churning of the buttermilk, and what emerges out is butter, right? From buttermilk, butter comes.
Amrita.
So you go on churning. So this churning is the criteria for churning is the two things that is required. One is the guru who is a Brahmanishta, who is able to ask you the right question, call out all the games of the mind, and your sincere seeking. Okay, you should be truthful to yourself. It's not about holding up an image. It's about being ready to give up everything for the truth. So Parashurama is ready now. He says, he's even saying something that would be considered blasphemy. He's saying bhakti to the Divine Mother is also a mental concept. It's just a mind game. The same thing that happened in the case of so the beauty is, in the case of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, Totapuri asked him to drop the image of the mother. He told him that this is all mental concept. Come out of it. Come to absolute reality. Here, Parashurama has arrived at that insight on his own. Okay, but he doesn't know what is absolute reality. So he's come back to the master, seeking what is absolute reality. Now, the master starts Vichara. So shall we start Vichara? Shall we start or any doubt? Rashmiji?
We can start, Guruji. No doubt. I mean, so far so good.
Okay. Meenakshi?
So far so good, Krishnaji.
So far so good. What is good so far?
Nothing.
Nothing is
No experience.
What kind of good is nothing, no experience? Good should have some experience. Then only it's good. Okay. Soumitra? Yes, Sumanji?
Yeah, we can go ahead, Krishnaji.
Then coming back to that question, why am I coming back to these sessions? Can I say I want to be part of the Vichara with my guru?
You tell me.
I think that is where now after.
No, the question is, why do you want to be part of Vichara with Guru? Vichara is not a process where you keep on doing Vichara. Mind has a tendency to make everything into a routine. Vichara and Atmagana is not a routine. It is depth. It is, if it's happened once, it's over. So much so that you don't go back to the Guru again. Then you will tell, what Guru? Okay, I am the Guru. Because the process of Vichara awakens the Atma Guru, the Guru in you. Then there is no dependency. So there is a saying, when you are ready, the Guru appears. When you are really ready, the Guru disappears. Meaning, the external Guru has done his job. Then you cannot make the Guru as a that handicap people use, clutch. Lifelong relying on that. Lifelong relying on satsang, right? It's not relying on Shravana. The point of Vichara is not to make you handicapped. The point of Vichara is to awaken you. Once you awaken, everything that is part of the dream will disappear, including the notion of Guru and disciple. So when you awaken through Vichara, the duality disappears. So is Guru part of duality or non-duality? Your concept of guru is part of duality.
Mm.
The real guru is non-dual. So you go back to the non-dual. You understand?
Yes.
So Vichara is not to do more Vichara. Vichara is a one-step process. Any
Yes,
doubts?
Maharaj. Yeah.
Okay. So why do you have, going back to Saumitra, you are the Malika Bakra. So you said you still didn't answer the question. I just deviated for you to give you compassionately some time to think. You said, I want to be free from being affected, right? Is that right, Saumitra?
Yes.
So who is that who wants to be free?
My mind.
My mind. What makes you think it is your mind? I'll come to the my mind part, the mind part. Mind wants to be free. First, you made a statement, my mind.
Mhm.
Why do you make that statement, my mind? Meaning
Because
what?
that is the root of all agony.
That is my mind.
Yes.
The fact that it's my mind is the root of all agony, or the mind is the root of all agony?
No, my mind.
Your mind.
Because
Okay. What makes you
mind
say
is not,
my mind?
because mind in nature does not have its own, let's say, how do I put it in words? Its own thought process. It's all the superimposition of what we do on top of it, right? So
So all the
that's why I use
superimpositions
my
were
mind.
created by you in the
Sorry?
mind? All the superimpositions were created by you in the mind?
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah.
So there is a super input. You have various concepts in the mind, assumptions in the mind. Okay.
Mhm.
How did you fill in all of that? You didn't know. When you were a child, first superimposition, for example, is Saumitra. That is a superimposition. That is a perception, assumption, concept that was implanted in you.
Right.
You didn't put that.
Yeah.
Right? For a very long time, you did not fill your mind. Whatever was filled, you accepted. Correct?
Mhm.
Then so you are talking about an entity which has basically borrowed concepts.
True.
Why do you refer to as my mind? Where you have zero contribution? It's like writing code, right? There is 100 lines of code, not even 2 words you've written.
Mhm.
How can you call it as my code? Everything you got from GitHub.
Once I've gone into a state where I can independently think of myself, then everything is my superimposition. I can decide today that I don't want to be called as Saumitra, right? So it's my superimposition at the end of the day.
See, you're telling, what you're trying to say is I'm filled with super perceptions and concepts. Until a point of time, I can make my own concepts, right? I can create on my own. Then it's all mine. But that point never comes in your life. You are never in a place where you use your own mind. You have an illusion that you use your own thoughts. You're always referring to some data and recycling it.
Mhm.
True or false?
True.
You say, now you're what, some 29 years, 28 years old. Now you will tell, okay, अब तक मैंने दूसरों का सुना, आज से मैं अपना सुनूंगा. That अपना voice also only tells दूसरों का in your voice. You think you are saying it, but deep inside, your impressions are only speaking. Something that you heard from somebody, something that you saw, some notion that you recorded. You're only recycling the record in your voice and telling it's now my voice.
But then I have a question, Krishnaji. So if that is the case, then even Tripura Rahasya is somebody else's voice, which I'm just superimposing on the way of my thought, right?
Yeah, but the difference is Tripura Rahasya is not sound, it's silence. The problem is created by sound. That is the difference between Gnana and thought. Thought is about an object. Okay, it's a programming. Tripura Rahasya is deprogramming. It's not adding another layer of program into your mind. So knowledge from the world fills your mind. Tripura Rahasya empties your mind or destroys the mind. So which
No,
are
yeah, that's right. I agree to that. I mean, I'm not challenging that part, but my question, and it's a very, let's say, turbulent question in my brain. So
Yeah.
even Ramana Maharshi or Dattatreya, or even these are all personifications of one or the other people who have thought about it, and they are stories at the end of the day. Nobody has even no. I mean, let me complete. So my question is: so at the end of the day, we are again listening to somebody's perception of their own reality. It might have worked for them, it might not work for me.
correct.
So I'm having a lot of confusion over there also. So doesn't that apply in this case as well? And not just Tripura Rahasya, in every kind of Vedas or everything. It's at the end of the day perception.
Correct. So what you're saying, see, the mind has a lot of programs. The mind gets programmed from a young age. From the baby, it starts getting programmed. Gender, name, relationships, then knowledge of the world. Okay. It gets, in a sense, lot of programs. Let's call them programs. Clean system now is being as programmed. Until then, for whatever reason, there is also a program in that program to come out of the program. Is that right? There is a deep inner seeking of freedom, of peace. Do you understand that? Is that true?
Yes, that's true.
Because that is what makes anybody move in that direction. So there is a deep inner seeking. This is exactly what happened to Parashurama. He did the Upasana for 12 years, but that deep void didn't, that gap in his heart is not filled. Something is still missing. His mind is still not peaceful. Something is still missing. That something is still missing, people start thinking, needs another program to fill that. So they fill it with program of money, program of something, some object, program of experiences, program of fame, program of power, politics, and all that. So for somebody on the spiritual path has already gone through all that. They've come to a stage where they've seen nothing works. Whatever I get in the world will not work. I need to seek something which I don't understand practically. So if they're fortunate, they meet a person. Now this person, the difference here is, to answer your question, it is not the same what you're saying, because this person has become free from all programs. In that sense, this person doesn't belong to your world of programs. And that person is called Gnani. That what we call Ramana Maharshi, Ramakrishna, Dattatreya, they are not perceptions or concepts. We refer to them as people. There was a person, Ramana Maharshi, yes, he was there in Tamil Nadu. There was a Ramakrishna, there was a Buddha, but that is only from our language. But there is no person there. There is a awakened being. There is no program there. That is why they call it no mind. So why we are doing this teaching is, we are respecting that no mind and asking that no mind to make me also no mind. Okay. Why? Because I've come to a point where I understand whatever I try is with my mind. I need intervention. And that intervention is not a program. That intervention is destroying all the program. That is why it's called, in the Krishna Bhagavad Gita tells, Gnanagni Dagda Karmani. The Vichara, the Gnana, Atma Gnana, is putting fire to all karma. Karma is ultimately program. Does it make sense? The why, the question why then all of this, why Vedas, why Tripura Rahasya, why the teachings of the Rishis, is because they are not part of the program.
No, I do agree. I
Ah.
will take you it offline with you actually, because I have a lot of questions here. But
No, there's no
what if
offline. This is the line. This is the only line. So,
Yeah.
and that is first part. Okay. The first part is that which you agree with, and that's why you're still here anyway. The question is, now you tell me why you still feel that there is a gap. And who is that who is telling that there is a gap? Who is the one who has these questions? You said I have a lot of questions.
Yes.
Who is having the questions?
I.
Who is that I?
A concept.
Concept is having a question. So do you exist in the absence of concept?
Yes.
In deep sleep, do you have a concept?
Yes.
No, in deep sleep, there is no mind, no? There is no thought. So there is waking, dreaming,
Okay, deep
sleep. In deep sleep, do you have a concept?
No.
Are you there?
Yes.
Do you wake up and tell, yeah, I had a state where there's no concept?
Yes.
So that means you are not concept?
Yes.
So the statement I am concept is not true. I is not concept. I exist in the absence of all concepts.
Okay.
So tell me, what is that I?
But I is not a reality. I is neither a concept. And what is I?
I is not a reality. No, you are telling me right now, you are telling, you're using the word I. I'm just trying to understand that I.
Okay.
First, you said I need to, what is that? Become free from getting affected. Okay, then we came to I is concept. Then we understood I is not concept. Now we are at the point again, where what is I then? So we are eliminating what I is not. Let's go one step further. What is I?
A perception of reality, right? I mean, how can I put it in words? Because that is exactly where
You're saying, how can I put it in words? Who is that? I'm asking, who is that who's telling that? How can I put it in words? Who told that?
me.
Who is that me?
No, I mean, honestly, I'm confused now because we deducted. I mean, we deducted that I is not a reality. I is not a concept. But then, what exactly is I?
No. We didn't say I is not a reality. We never said that. We are only starting from, we don't know I. We're trying to find out I. Okay. Let's start from that point. Okay. Now you use word I. You say I left, right, and center throughout the day.
Right.
I went. I worked out. I went to office. I have questions. I seek God. I had experience. I did meditation. You use, right? Now I'm asking you, who is that I that you're referring to?
That's what I'm here to understand.
I will explain it to you. I will make you understand. But you tell me, who wants to understand? Somebody is saying, I want to understand. No, who is that person who told I want to understand?
It's me.
कौन है वो? Me कौन है?
I don't know. Maybe others can help me in this viva.
That is why I chose you.
But I don't think anybody else. I mean, I don't want to judge on behalf of anybody. I need help from others. My classmates.
Anybody else other is an illusion. It's a dream. You never have experience of them. All the more now and remotely. They're only a picture on the screen. Nobody exists. Do you exist?
Yes.
I exist. Does I exist require thought?
Yes.
No. In deep sleep, is there thought?
But other two states, yes.
I will come to other state. In deep sleep, is there thought?
No.
Do you exist in deep sleep?
Yes.
So make the statement. I exist in the absence of thought.
Okay. Mhm.
True or false?
True, true.
So the statement in the West popular is, I think, therefore I am. No. You are, therefore you do everything else, including thinking.
Hmm.
Because you are in deep sleep. Whether there's no thinking, but you still are.
Mhm.
So I is not a thought.
Yep.
I is a knowing. You just know. In deep sleep, there's a knowing, and the knowing is not thought. Knowing is just light, awareness.
Mhm.
Okay. So now the only problem here is that knowing principle, which is I, you are confusing with body, mind, and intellect and identity.
Mhm.
So Vichara puts the spotlight on I, because that's the only thing that is there to put spotlight on. Everything else, you go to a movie theater, right? In
Yep.
a movie theater, there's a screen. They make it completely dark, so that on one screen they can present images. Take a torch in the movie theater. Okay, while the movie is going on, put the light on the screen where the movie is happening. What will you see there? You get the question, everybody? When the movie is going on, there are so many images on the screen because it's all completely dark. But if you put a torch light on the screen that's already lit by the projector, what happens? You don't see any image there in that part. The light cancels out the other light, and you see the screen again. You know that? So what is there is only the pure, absolute I, reality. So Vichara reveals that by, in a way to say, destroying or completely removing the unreal, or just revealing that the unreal is unreal. You understood, Samitra?
Yes.
So now, who is the I?
The consciousness, and let's say in this, it's the light, probably, which.
Yeah, that is because you're repeating what I said. Experientially,
Mhm.
what is I tell you? Experientially also, at all points of time, you are the pure I. The problem is the mind, there's a in-between layer. There's something called as mind. And what is mind? Mind is just imaginative power. That imaginative power keeps projecting, like how the movie screen projects images on the screen, and nothing is there. It goes on projecting, and it makes you miss the screen, which is behind, which is holding, which is the reality, which is I. So at any point of time, you are asked something, you go back to some part of the projected image and not the screen. Vichara takes you back to the screen, not the projected image. The projected image is seen for what it is, seen through and dropped. Do you get it?
Mhm.
What did you understand? We must be really sad. Why did I come to this class today?
No. I mean, it's good actually. It makes me think a lot. So,
You think or removes thought. So vichara is the process of vichara is not to make you think more.
Mhm.
Vichara is shedding light on what you really are. Okay, it's self-recognition. In that self-recognition, naturally the thoughts calm down, the mind dies down. Because the mind moves relying on false identities. For example, so you get, let's say, thoughts of survival, of job. You're constantly thinking, how do I make progress in my job? Okay. What is the root of all that thought? And it's a lot of thought process. Okay, it's a lot of thought, a lot of searching, planning, studying, all that is involved. What is the root of all that thought? Is identity. Identity of some employee. I am this person, I'm an engineer, I'm a doctor, some identity. That identity creates that whole thought process. Correct? So no identity equals no thought. Do you get it? You cannot, there is no thought that doesn't rely on an identity. All thoughts are rooted in some or the other identity. Agree or disagree? And it's a question for everybody. And don't make this a discussion between Saumitra and me. It's open to everybody. You understand? Thoughts, patterns are based on identities. And what are identities?
There are projections which are been put on you from your birth and other factors.
What is the meaning of a projection? It is unreal.
Right.
But you take it to be real.
Sorry, come again?
That is why the identity causes hurt. Any hurt that you get in life is because some identity got shaken. That identity got shaken. How can something that is not existent got shaken? It means you have given reality to something that is non-existent. Simple example, somebody calls you idiot. Mentally, you have an identity that I'm not an idiot, that I'm an intelligent person. And you've given reality to that. The moment somebody tells you you're an idiot, that identity gets shaken. And there is hurt. Nothing is there to get shaken. There is nothing. That identity itself what is an identity? It's an assumption that you've made about real I. And all assumptions about real I are false. All assumptions made on the real I is like trying to cover the sun with clouds. Okay? The real I is Sat, Chit, Ananda. It is, Sat means its existence. Do you exist? You know that you exist. And that you know that you exist. And that requires no support of any sort. It doesn't need the body, it doesn't need the mind. This you see in deep sleep. In deep sleep, you exist in the absence of everything. That means, that proves that what does deep sleep experience prove? Can anybody answer?
No mind, no thoughts,
No,
no identity.
About existence, what does it prove? Deep sleep experience proves. Yes, Prasadji?
No, he existed. I know I exist.
Deep sleep existence proof. I am existence. and I know it. Okay, that I am existence and I know it is called Sat. And there's another insight in that. I am the only one. There is no other. That no other is the reality. And that reality, which is called as Mukti, no other, Advaita, non-dual, is already in your experience in deep sleep. Then what are you searching? It's like every deep sleep experience is proving to you that there is no other. Then when you come back to the waking, you seek that non-dual experience. In the deep sleep, it's proven to you that you are Paramatma, you are Parabrahma. Then you wake up and you become something else. You understand? Soumitra, you are getting the point?
Yes.
Your own experience of deep sleep is proving to you that I am existence and there is no other. That other, what is other? So there is this pen. Pen is the other. There is pen and there is me. The other always puts light on you. Okay, what is you? What is not you? But the problem the mind does is the other is putting light on another other, which is body, which you don't look at. The moment you make the body as the seen, something else becomes a seer. The moment you make the mind as a seen, the self becomes a seer. Then when you try to make the self as a seen, which cannot be done, you rest in pure I. This is the process of eliminating the other. In any experience, when you see the pen, there is the experience, there is a scene, the pen, and I am the seer. There is a knowledge of other and the knowledge of me, I. But the only problem is you always forget, you always take for granted I. And you focus on the scene. So is there a way that I can be free from this experience of duality of the other and me? The only way of becoming free from duality is inquiring into duality. And that inquiry is called Vichara. There is no other way that you can see through the duality and establish in what is called non-duality. Any doubts so far? I'll take a pause. Any questions? Shantiji, Kundanji, is it making sense? Is Vichara clear? Is the process of Vichara clear?
If you speak here in Hindi, मन चित्त बुद्धि अहंकार आपने इसी को एक स्वरूप दिया अभी इस विषय.
I didn't get the question. Can you repeat it?
So you are saying about man chitta buddhi ahankar, the relationship between the four. This is what we are explaining here.
No. I'm telling you.
The question answer you are giving to him, that who is I?
Yeah.
So you are trying to explain him man chitta buddhi ahankar.
Manas, buddhi, chitta or ahankar is called antakaran.
So ahankar part is the I part, which makes you feel that I am there.
No. So,
ahankara, making of aham is the by the ahankara.
Okay, let me explain that. Okay, so there is antakaran. Antakaran means tool. Okay, this is a karana. Karana means tool. I is a karana. It's a tool. So these are, the body is an external tool, physical tool, gross tool. There are 4 inner tools called manas, buddhi, Chitta or Ahankar. Everybody clear? Manas, Buddhi, Chitta, Ahankar. What is Manas? Then there is Deh. Deh is the body, Manas, Buddhi, Chitta, Ahankar. Now let us first understand what is the process of experience, because the whole problem is the suffering in life is experience. Okay, suffering is an experience. Mukti is freedom from suffering. Okay, Mukti is deep peace. It's very, to say it simply, in simple words, it is exactly like deep sleep. A state of deep sleep with eyes open, eyes closed, doesn't matter. Where there is an experience of no other, then in the waking state, some things are happening. There is no center, there is no I. Everything is just conceptual, Maya, dream. This is the experience in Mukti. So what happened? This is the primordial state. This is the state of Narayana. That's why Narayana is shown sleeping in the. So Narayana is shown sleeping. He's always sleeping. He's ever at rest. The consciousness is ever at rest. Okay, it is called Yoga Nidra. It has no concept. It has never fallen into dream. It is absolutely free. It is pure, serene. In that, a dream appears, and to experience a dream, the dream body appears. Now, there is a body, and the body has sense organs. The sense organs, through light and sensation, get some input. Okay. Now let us understand what happens in the Antakarana, how the input is processed. Let's say you see a tree. So what is the first level that the image of the tree crosses?
Sir, through eyes.
The tree first goes to sense organ, because with no sense organ, no perception. Then there is no question. There's no teaching, there's no question, there's no nothing. Sense perception is the starting point. So the sense perception, you saw the tree pass through the senses. Then where does it go?
That is in the brain. It makes the imaging.
The brain is still part of the body. Now we have crossed over the body. The body is done. Now it
goes in the manas.
Antakarana. Okay. Now the sense, the tree goes to manas. Manas is what we call as mind. The mind sees the image, immediately it accesses chitta. Chitta is data, record. And it does an image matching and says this is tree. Okay? But it doesn't stop there. The mind, the memory has two parts. One is image recognition, and second part is superimposition. So it recalls this is tree and pulls in another record saying this is a very bad tree. I saw a tree in Manali that was nicer. It puts another layer of record where it's not required actually. वो बोलने की जरूरत नहीं है, पर वो बोलता है. If it had just told this is a tree, it's fine. But what did it do? This is a good tree, this is a bad tree, it's a beautiful tree. It brings various other concepts from memory, which are not required to be brought, but it just brings. Okay? And it superimposes. Understand? Now, two faculties of the Antakarana are over. Manas are over. Manas has done his job. Chitta has done his job. Now the Buddhi has come. Buddhi is at a higher level. Buddhi now needs to make the decision. Should I climb the tree or should I not? Should I take a photo near the tree or should I not? Buddhi is a decision-making faculty of the mind. Okay? If the Buddhi just saw a tree, okay, this is tree, this is tree. What is action?
It will take some decision.
What determines the decision? What determines the decision of the Buddhi?
So the governing factor there will be the ahankar.
We'll come to Ahankar 1 second.
Yeah.
What is the deciding factor of the buddhi? What makes the buddhi decide? Not
Previous experiences.
the chitta, not the record part of the chitta, not this is the tree part of the chitta, but this is a good tree. I fell down from the tree as a child. I should never climb a tree. All the past impressions, and that impression is called vasana.
Vritti also has the play here, right?
Vritti, vasana. So using the word for vritti. Vritti means thought, thinking pattern. That thinking pattern is called vasana. Okay, and where is that vasana? In the chitta. That is why yoga is told chitta vritti nirodha. So what sadhana does, it purifies the chitta. Okay, sadhana cleans the chitta, cleans out all the junk in the chitta. So whenever you have a perception, you have a pure perception. Your intelligence is in a better position to decide. But typically, the intellect is always influenced by vasana. You understand? Any doubts so far? You look at your own life. All sense perception. You pass by an ice cream truck, immediately the chitta triggers. You should have ice cream. It projects so many pictures. Okay, eating ice cream will be so nice. It will be so good. You had it that day. All that vasanas will come out. Okay, those are called vasanas. Okay, and that vasana will influence the buddhi to make a decision. So that's why all the doctors who smoke, they know very well the hazards of smoking. But why they still smoke? It's because the intellect is distorted because of the chitta. So in India, there was a very famous case a long time ago. This very decorated defense personnel came back to his house and he found that his wife and his friend were having a relationship. Then he took his gun and he went and shot the friend. Okay. Now this is a highly decorated defense personnel. He knows what is right and wrong. But the intellect gets covered. Okay. And that intellect, the clarity in the intellect is called viveka. So there's a beautiful poem called Shri Krishna Ki Chetavani. In that it's told, Jab nash manuj par chata hai, pehle vivek mar jata hai. Okay? When the doom is upon you, first thing is your intellect will stop working. How you reach your doom? Because your intellect gets clouded. Why does it get clouded? Because of vasana. You understand? So the vasana clouds the intellect. Now the intellect makes a decision. Okay, I have no bad experience. The tree is nice. I can climb the tree. I'll climb the tree. The intellect gives the command to the body, climb the tree. The body climbs the tree. Now comes the fourth part called ahamkara. Ahankara, the body climbed the tree. Now the intellect has to tell something, communicate something. It tells, I climbed the tree. Okay? It doesn't say body climb the tree. Because can intellect climb the tree? No, it can't. Can manas climb the tree? It can't. Can chitta climb the tree? It can't. So who climbed the tree? For the intellect, somebody has to be there. There's some subject that is required. Till now, we've only spoken about object. In this whole process of experience, where is the subject? Body is a subject? Is body subject? Yes or no? Sleeping.
No, body is not a subject.
Sense organ is a subject?
No.
Manas is a subject? Buddhi is a subject? Vasana is a subject? So where is the subject in this whole experience? Experience has happened without a subject. Where is the subject here? Seeing is happening without a subject. Tree is there without a subject. The tree is seen. Some record is pulled. Vasana has come. Intellect has made a decision. Body has climbed the tree. Where is the subject in this?
Tasting everything.
There is no subject.
Okay.
But the intellect doesn't know that. Intellect tells, I climbed the tree. And that thought, the thought of I climbed the tree is called ahankara. Ahankara means I thought. Now, where is the intellect getting the I thought? It is getting the I thought because it is illumined by the real I. The real I is existence, which is existence in the absence of intellect. The intellect pulls out the notion from that called I, and meaning it pulls out a notion of a subject, a concept of a subject from that real I, which is beyond a subject, and it takes the object, which is body, senses, manas, buddhi, manas, chitta, puts it together and says I. Do you understand the whole process? And this is what is you, what you refer to yourself as you, is this process. So when you fall down you say, I fell down. Right? What has the intellect done? What is that really fell down? Body. Body is an object. Okay. And the pure subject I, did it fall? Did the I fall? I is awareness, consciousness. It cannot fall. It cannot come. It cannot go. It cannot die. It cannot be born. It is just pure awareness. Okay. And that is the real I. That real I is made to fall because of this thinking pattern. And this is called Maya. When nothing is happening to you, you feel everything is happening to you. When nothing is happening, and what you say is you also is unreal. The real you is Satchitananda. You take yourself to be Jiva, but that Jiva is actually Shiva. And why is this happening? Is because happening of this process of manas, buddhi, ahankara, chitta. But I just simplified it, called it the mind. The mind plays all these games. Now, are there 4 things called manas, buddhi, ahankara, chitta? It is only mind, one mind. It's like in the hotel. You go and sit in the hotel at the table and you say, the waiter comes. What do you want? You say, give me 2 coffees. Then he tells, hey, 2 coffees. Then he only goes and prepares the coffees. Then he tells, please give the bill. Then he only goes in the cashier, prepares the bill and comes back. So that same person is performing all these roles. The same mind, ignorance. And what is that mind? That mind is darkness or ignorance. In that ignorance appears some objects. To perceive that object appears some body, some senses, some memory record. All that is series of appearances stitched together by a thinking process. And this thinking process I'm referring to as mind. So freedom from this thinking process is called mukti. And the only way this mukti can happen is by inquiry. A sharp inquiry into the assumptions that are fueling this thinking process. Okay? There are many vasanas, and all vasanas don't need to be removed to get mukti. Complete vasana kshaya is not required. There are few impressions, very strong, that are keeping you deluded. Those have to be removed. Is that part clear? All vasanas have not to be removed. For example, this is computer, this is wall, all this data doesn't need removing. But the false notions of I am this, I am that needs to be removed. The clarity needs to be given to the intellect of what is real I. And that is a process called Vichara. And that clarity that emerges in the intellect is called Gnana, Atmagnan. And once the intellect gets clarity, now the same process will happen. Now what will happen? The intellect, the body will see the tree. This is what happens in a Gnani. Gnani also sees a tree. The Gnani sense organs perceive the tree. But the Gnani doesn't put superimpositions. There's no filtering mechanism. Good tree, bad tree, my tree, I fell down from the tree. All that is wiped out. Okay, there's a pure, in that sense, it's a pure perception, like a child. The child sees a tree, it sees it for the first time. Okay, that is why Gnani is exactly like a child. A pure experience, no past, no programming. So in that sense, a Gnani's perception is a perception free from all programming. It's a pure perception. This is seen in the movie called Matrix. If you've seen the movie Matrix, the main hero, he comes out of all programming. Suddenly he has a perception which is free from programming. That is the state of a Gnani. So any doubts so far? Soumitra?
Not right now. I have I have a lot of inquiries still, but not in the context of this, what you explained. So good with this so far. Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else? Is it clear so far? So why Vichara? Why now when Parashurama is going to the Bhagavan Dattatreya, he's understood this game. He's understood this game of Manas, Buddhi, Ahankara, Chitta. He's understood this game of the mind game. He's understood the mind game because everything is a mind game. He's saying everything is a mind game. Everything is a mind game. Agree or disagree? Pallaviji? Everything is a game of the mind.
Yes, Krishnaji.
Everything is a mental game. True or false?
Yes, it is.
It's all a mental game. Okay. But that mental game appears very real. So it creates suffering. It creates fear. It creates doubt. The process of Vichara will annihilate that. It ignites deep conviction of Brahma Satya, Jagan Mithya. Brahman alone is real. In this case, the divine goddess Tripura alone is real. I am that, and Jagat, all perceptions are false, including the perceptions of identity, self-identity. Because all self-identity are what? Mental game. Can you imagine when you understand that all the self-identity that you carry, the burden that you carry of I, me, is only a mental game, which doesn't even which doesn't even cross over to the next stage. So you have three states: waking, dreaming, deep sleep. The absurdity here is you have the chitta gathers impressions in the waking state. Now the same impressions drop all the identities of the waking state and project another world called the dream world and start living the dream perceptions as real. Okay? Whatever is gathered in the waking state is spilt over to the dream state. So in that state, in that sense, there's two states are identical: waking and dreaming. And in deep sleep state, there is no self-identity. There is no thought, there is no word, there is no projection, there is no manas, there is no buddhi, there is no ahankara, and there is no chitta. When I say there is no, they are all there, but they've gone to a causal form. That's why they come back again in the waking state. Okay. Mukti is when they don't come back. Mukti is dissolution of projection. What remains is just Sat, Chit, Ananda. Any doubts? Biplav ji, Meenakshi ji, Rashmi ji.
No, Krishna
No
ji.
doubt, Krishna ji.
Thank you.
So what is the understanding? So are you enlightened, Rashmi ji?
No.
No.
Like-
So
It,
why did
so
you
far
say
I'm
no even
still,
without thinking? Why no?
because still I'm at the mind game state, and it is though some experiences of rather though I can see that the subject object thing, and I can understand and apply it while I'm doing my own um, uh, nididhyasana, but yeah, still I think I see that strong attachment to some object world and not really detached.
Who is attached?
Ma- yeah, I feel that there is an attachment with the sense world, material world, and or at least that's my mind game. After this session, I can put it like that.
Well, it's definitely a mind game. There is no doubt about. Is there a doubt about that it's not a mind
Yeah.
game?
The assumption that I am.
The attachment that you speak of, is it real?
Yeah. No, it is not.
You said I am attached to the world.
Yeah.
But that is an absolute false statement. If you are attached, you would not drop the waking world and go into the dream world or the deep sleep world.
Right.
If you are attached, 24 hours you'll be having waking state, no?
Right. That's right.
You don't do that.
No.
You completely leave it without a guarantee that you'll come back.
That's right.
You leave the waking world for a dream world, and you leave the dream world for no world.
Correct.
So that statement that you made, I am attached to world, is false. That means it is, and what I just said is implying that your nature is detachment. That means only a person who is detached can easily transition, completely drop this stage and go to, it's like clothes, no? You've seen children, right? When you buy the child a dress, every part of the child wears the same dress. Because it's just got the dress and it likes the dress. But you're not like that. You are so comfortably dropping the waking state, all its problems, all its wealth, whatever glory you might have in the waking state, you drop it and go to the dream state where probably you're a beggar. And in the dream state also you drop and you go to a no world state where there's nothing.
Right.
That means your nature is detachment.
Correct.
What is your
I'm
nature?
not
Attachment or detachment?
Detachment.
So what is the problem? So why do you tell you are not enlightened? When your nature is detachment, what more can there be in enlightenment apart from detachment?
Maybe I'm imagining in that case that I'm not enlightened and I'm attached, whereas I'm not thinking or I'm not seeing the reality that
हाँ,
I'm not attached.
वो एक बार फिर से बोलो. Tell that again.
I'm probably imagining that
No.
I
I
am
am not
attached.
probably. I am.
I am imagining that I'm attached and I'm not seeing the reality that I'm actually detached.
I am. Yeah, the reality is. So don't worry about. I am imagining. Don't worry about the imagination part. Don't worry about the negative.
Hmm.
Can you reinstate the positive part of the statement?
I am detached. Hello?
Yeah.
I think my network probably, I think I lost you for a couple of seconds.
Okay. So my nature is detachment.
Yes, my nature is detachment.
That's why Shankaracharya tells in the Brahma Gnana Vadi, Asangoham, Asangoham.
Hmm.
I am Atma. I can never have Sangha, attachment.
Right.
Okay. So when you said, and the question is, and I asked you the question, are you enlightened? What is the answer?
Yes.
Who is there to answer? Who answers the question? Can body answer the question?
Mind, maybe.
Can body answer the question? Body is like a computer. Whatever.
Correct.
It's just a transmitter, like a phone.
Right. It's a tool we use for expression.
It's a tool. So the question is not for the body. And the body can, there's no meaning to say body is enlightened.
Never
The body
answers.
dies.
Correct. Right.
Is that clear? So everybody, is that clear?
Yes.
Body is jada. Deha is jada. So the question of enlightenment, mukti, is not for the body. It has nothing to do with the body. Body is projection, inert. Is it for the mind? Is it for
mind? Is also another tool.
Let's break down the mind. No? Is it for the manas?
No.
No, manas is just image matching. Okay, it's not for the manas. Is it for the chitta?
No.
Chitta is storage device. Okay. Is it for buddhi?
Yes.
Is it for buddhi?
Yes. It is for the buddhi.
The question is for the buddhi. Okay. But the buddhi, because the self doesn't give answer. The self, Atma, is silent. There is no need for it to give answer. The buddhi with the Atma Gnana, and this is not a question to seek an answer. This is for the buddhi to become clear. What is I? You understand? So I ask you, the moment I ask you, are you enlightened? What happens is the question is a sense input through your ear, right? That sense input goes to Manas. Manas has got the question. Immediately, the Manas, what it does? It pulls out record. I am Rashmi. I have not done any sadhana. I don't have any miraculous powers. I am depressed. I am happy. I have children. I have family. I am not pure. I do this. It pulls out so many records and shows the buddhi. See, I am all this. Then the buddhi gets jittered and it says, no, I am not enlightened. And all this happens very fast. You understand what's happening? So what this Vichara is doing, it's creating a gap. It's giving some space for the buddhi to pause and tell, oh, hold on. All this is the data program that is coming from the Chitta. Now let me refer to Guru Vakya. Let me refer to Upanishad. Let me Smarana. Smarana means let me recollect what Guru has told. Then the Buddhi is in a better position to decide. Then it says, I rather stick to the teachings of Gnana and drop this Agnana. This is what Vichara does. It comes to a point where all this, like how spontaneously you tell no, right? That spontaneously there is silence. You might say whatever, based on the context of who is asking and what is the situation externally, which is irrelevant. You might say some answer or not say some answer. But you are never fooled yourself that I am not Atma. This is what Vichara does. It breaks that, it puts that space for the Buddhi to think and align with Gnana. Because immediately that Guru Vakya will come. Oh, who is not enlightened? Can Atma not be enlightened? And you are Atma. And that proves in deep sleep. In deep sleep, you are non-dual. And enlightenment is non-duality, which is your nature in deep sleep. How can you not be enlightened? To say that I am not enlightened, is it a true statement?
No.
To say that I am enlightened, is it a true statement? to say that I am not enlightened, is it a true statement? Everybody?
Mind game.
It's a mind game. To say I am enlightened, is it a true statement?
Once again, it's a thought.
Again, it's a mind game. So, Shankaracharya tells, na bandhur, sorry, what is that? Na muktir na bandha. I am neither bond, neither am I mukti, neither am I liberated. Because the concept of liberation is also part of Maya. It's a mental game. That concept of liberation is also in reference to ignorance. In deep sleep, there is no concept of mukti because there is nothing to be free from. Okay. So you become free from all concepts by inquiry. And that is the only way. You have to, and you cannot do it yourself. It's like a surgery. Sorry, it's like a surgery. You cannot do open heart surgery to yourself. Okay. In the process of Vichara, the Guru questions and the ignorance is dropped. All concepts are dropped, including the concept of mukti. What remains? Because as long as the concept of mukti remains, an identity that I am bound remains. Until you drop the concept called mukti also, you won't get mukti. That is what happened to Bhagavan Buddha. So Siddhartha, when he was trying, he was working extremely hard for mukti. All sadhanas, no human being can do so much sadhana. Extreme sadhana. Then he's fed up. His body is breaking down and he just drops everything, including the desire and concept of mukti. Then he's completely free. He is awakened. Awakening means awakening from the dream. All aspects of the dream, including mukti, which is an aspect of the dream. You understand? It's like, to tell it in simple words, let's say you had a dream. In the dream, you had deep desire for mukti. Then when you wake up, is there any meaning for that? That whole premise is uprooted. and that is done by Vichara. Kundanji, thinking seriously, is it making sense?
Yes, so basically, I was just concluding my understanding also. So I have read that there are two type of vrittis. One is Jadiya Vritti, one is Chittiya Vritti. So you are, in a way, you are saying the same thing. So reduce the Jadiya Vritti, increase the Chittiya Vritti with Vichara.
So the Vichara, what it does, eventually it will destroy all vrittis.
Eventually, yeah.
So some vrittis required to operate in life. That's why we see the Gnanis operate in life, like Ramakrishna Paramahamsa is teaching and things, Ramana Maharshi is teaching and doing work. Janaka Maharaj is running the kingdom, even though he's Brahmagnani, is because some vrittis are there to operate the body. If you sit for 21 days in a state of no vritti, which is called Nirvikalpa Samadhi, then there is absolute dissolution. The body also dissolves. Okay, so this was happening in the case of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. He said, after the Totapuri gives him the Atmagnana, he removes the last concept of the projection of Divine Mother. Because for him, it is equivalent to Mukti, the highest. So when he drops that concept, he sits in Nirvikalpa Samadhi for 3 days. And he tells, if I had sat for longer, I would not come back. Because what happens is all the vrittis, all vasanas get wiped out. Then there's nobody to come back. There's no more interaction possible. That is called parinirvana. So 21 days, if you sit in absolute state of Nirvikalpa Samadhi, no vritti, that burns out all the vrittis. Simply because the mind loses its tendency to a need to move, becomes no movement, absolute stillness. Because even to have compassion, there is some concept of the other is required. Okay. When the mind is wiped out, fully clean, it's exactly like consciousness. It becomes still. No compassion, no love, no wisdom, no ignorance, no mukti, no guru, no shishya, no world, nothing. Then in that absoluteness, it's not nothingness, it's absoluteness. In that absoluteness, movement is not possible. For movement to happen, some vritti should be there. Okay. Now we are not talking about removing all vrittis. We are talking about removing vrittis that are causing us suffering. Our problem is not all vritti. Our problem is not tree. Our problem is our record that is giving a false perception. Our problem is not war. Our problem is the fear that we experience inside. Okay. Our problem is the vasanas, the suffering, the mental games. To be free from the mental games is mukti. And how do you do that? It's not a process. It is through inquiry, realizing, oh, I am already that. It's not becoming that. I am that. So there's no way I can become unattached without realizing my nature is detachment. So Shantiji, are you enlightened?
Yes, I am, Krishnaji.
Who is enlightened? Saumitra, are you enlightened?
On the way.
On the way. On the way is false, because there's no way for enlightenment. How can there be a way to yourself, which you already are?
I mean, in progress.
What is that gap part? What makes you say in progress?
No,
What
I
is
mean,
missing?
Yeah, I mean, just like you gave an example of the 21 days, right? So it's, I mean, as an example, I'm just using it. So I'm in between somewhere to do the inquiries, to understand the object subject, as well as to understand over there. That's what I mean to say. Like, I mean, yeah.
Yeah. So who is saying all of this? Is the mind. So this is the key here. And if you get this key, enlightenment is right now, this very moment. Okay, it's not tomorrow, it's not after 3 sessions of Vichara or whatever. This very moment you become free when you understand that all that you just said is told by the mind.
Correct. Yes.
It's a mental game. And none of that has any relevance to the real you. It's only a projection. So drop the projection. Discard it saying it is not me. I am not what my mind says. Okay? Because of the logic that I exist in the absence of mind. Again, you have to go back to your own experience. Because of the inference and the insight that I have in deep sleep that I exist without the mind, why should I listen to an instrument which is absent at some times and I'm still there? And in fact, I'm in a state of bliss in its absence, right? You're in bliss in deep sleep. That is the only time that you are not suffering. So why listen to an instrument in whose absence you are in bliss? Right? So we recognize, based on the teachings of the rishis, the Guru Parampara and the Vedas and the Upanishads, I am self. Whether I know it or I don't know, it doesn't matter. I am self. I am Atma. This very moment. Is it hard to swallow?
No.
I'm telling you, you are that right now. And I can, any argument you throw at me, I can prove you otherwise. Prove through logic. But I want you to prove to me why you think you're not that. What makes you say, I'm in progress? This whole in progress mentality, right, is bought in by the world. The society has made you believe that you're incomplete. Simply because you have to buy things that you don't want. You are incomplete without the latest refrigerator. You're incomplete without the newest carpet. You're incomplete without Mercedes-Benz. You're incomplete without 10 women. You're incomplete without this much money. So the society, and you see all the marketing, they can only sell when they can make you feel that you're incomplete without it. If you're complete, do you think you will buy anything? Sab chakkar paisa ka hai. It's all about the money. You are stuck in Maya because of money. You are not incomplete. You are pure. That is why the religions in the West, are very aligned to the business. They make you, the religion in the West teaches you're a sinner. That means what? If you're a sinner, then to become a saint, there is a journey. And so many shops can be set up in that journey to make you a saint. You understand? But in India, it's ulta. No shop can be set up because you're already that. You are divine. You are born Amritasya Putraha. They say that you can be born to whoever your parents, but you're the child of Shiva and Shakti.
Yes.
You're already that. So there is no selling possible. There's no business possible.
Yes, I'm enlightened. Yeah.
You're enlightened. Now what happens is the mind, because of its vasanas, brings out contradictory thoughts. After the vichara is done, the viveka is ignited, the gnana is ignited. You have to use that gnana to counter the thoughts of the mind. that is called inner Atma Guru. Okay, because the external Guru cannot be with you all the time. So as long as you have the opportunity with the external Guru, resolve all your questions. Then comes a time when you become the the advocate. It's like the mind will fight on behalf of the ego. You with the higher intellect, with Viveka, destroy it with the Gnana. Then when the Gnana destroys Agnana, the Gnana also disappears because there's no need for that now. The Gnana cancels out Agnana and silence remains. Do you have any doubt you're not Atma?
No.
You can genuinely tell. You don't have to just say for the sake of saying. Do you have any doubt that you're not Atma?
No doubts were there.
There's no doubt I am not Atma.
Yeah.
But there's a but. That but is because of the mind, thinking pattern. The thinking pattern will eventually die down with more Vichara, Atma. That is the only purpose of Ganga. Have you heard that if you take a dip in Ganga, you get purified, right? And Ganga comes from the Shiva's head. Shiva is the Guru, and the Ganga is the teaching, the words of the Guru. So keep dipping in the Ganga, the Gnana Ganga. Then all the vrittis that are giving you false perception will die out. Okay. And this is not process. This is not one dip, two dip, three dip. It all depends on the type of disciple. Some people get like that. Only one meeting is required. Some people need more time. So a man came to Buddha. The man asked, he was a king. The king came to Buddha because a lot of kings used to visit Buddha because he himself was a king, prince. The king came, he bowed down, he asked him, how do I become free from suffering? Buddha said, there are 4 types of horses. Because the king had come on a horse. He looked at the king's horse and he said, there are 4 types of horses. The first horse, you have to whip it. Okay, you have to whip it hard many times, then it will run. The second type of horse, you have to whip it once, then it will run. The third type of horse, you don't even have to whip it. You just create the sound of the whip. It will run. Then the fourth type of horse, if you just see the shadow of the whip, it will run. Then this king understands. They both sit silent. He bows down to Buddha and he goes. Then Buddha's disciple is sitting next to him, Ananda. This person is asking about suffering, and Buddha is talking about horses. What nonsense is this? He asks Buddha, what are you telling? Then Buddha tells him, there are 4 types of horses. The first horse. So the first horse represents the mind which is so deep in thought patterns. There's no gap for you to give gnana because the thought patterns keep running. And that is what was the state of Parashurama. And that is the very reason Bhagavan Dattatreya told him Sri Vidyopasana. So that you come to a stage where you can receive Vichara. Otherwise, the mind is so disturbed it cannot receive. Then there are more mature minds that don't need too much teaching. One whip and it gets it. Then the highest quality of disciple doesn't even need too much teaching, just the glimpse and the mind becomes silent. So this very moment, you are that. And you will see it yourself when you take your attention to self. How you take your attention to the self? I will take up in the next few sessions. But this is what is covered in the, not exactly this. Of course, I elaborated and made it more personal. But this is the teaching given by Dattatreya to Parashurama about Vichara, about mind games, about how everything is a concept, and how Vichara alone can free you from these concepts. Yes, Shantiji, you're raising your hand, a digital hand.
Yeah, Krishnaji, I raised my hand when Soumitra said he's in progress. That's when I thought of thinking to bring him up to the speed, because, you know, when we did that exercise in our nursery and LKG classes, when you started the sessions for us in 2019, we did it nicely in a paper, like the waking state, the dreaming state, and then the deep sleep state.
Okay.
Those discussions or those talks were really powerful, and sometimes I feel going back to that.
Yeah.
So my question is, can you make those videos available for us, just to as a refresher? You know, I would like to go back and watch those videos.
Honestly, I don't know
The
what you're talking
recordings.
about, but all the videos are already there on the channel, all the recorded talks. I've not kept anything.
Okay. I see. Then I think I am looking at a wrong place, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know in particular which you're referring to, but everything that has been recorded, earlier I had shut it down, the channel. Now it's reopened.
Okay.
All videos are on the channel.
All right. Can you share, Krishnaji? I think the channel name was Gita Guru, right?
Yeah.
Gita Guru.
I'll share it. When I share this video, I'll share it.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, that would be helpful for me as well. Sorry.
Yeah. No more help is required, Soumitra. You need more help.
No,
I'm
to get
sitting
the
right
link.
in front of you. You need a video, recorded video.
To get the link of the video.
Why? What will happen? I'm right in front of you, alive right now.
But you're a projection, right?
And video is not projection.
Yeah.
So what other question you have? You have any other questions?
I had a question actually, but not actually in the context of this particular part 2 of Tripura Rahasya. Is it okay if I can ask?
Yeah, just 1 second. Let me take up any other questions related to this topic we discussed today. Is Vichara clear, Rashmiji?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, Biplav, Bina, Meenakshi, Suman. Yeah.
Yes, clear, Krishnaji.
Guruji, question.
First, wife, ladies
No,
first.
let him finish, Guruji.
Okay,
That's all right. You go first.
No, Guruji, I was still with your first question. Then why should we attend? Everything is clear. But why is there the craving to still come, look forward, forget everything and sit in front of your session, attend? There is that thirst to listen, follow, still. What is that then?
Yeah.
So what
Why
happens?
am I know everything, fine, and the Nididhyasa is going on. It has been done, but the mind is still thirsty for something, wants more.
Yeah.
Should I attend or not attend then?
Don't attend. Okay, so the question is, I have already done Vichara. I have heard Asmajnana. Everything is clear. I have gone through all possible prakriyas, evaluated, received the grace, the Shaktipat is over, the awakening is over. I am absolutely clear that this is it. Okay, I am the self. Yeah, there is, I have vasanas, I have disturbed, mind is disturbed, mind is happy, all that is mine. But I'm able to tell, okay, if there is disturbance, I'm able to tell this is, I am Sakshi of the disturbance. Okay.
Yes.
So I've reached a stage of Sakshi. And Sakshi is Atma. Sakshi is Brahman. Now, once the Gnana happens, like I told you, the vasanas in the chitta, there are various vasanas, right? All the vasanas that cover your self-identity are burnt. Okay? All the vasanas that cover your self-identity, they are like the mask. There is a veil. That veil is removed. The mask is removed. Think of all our identities like masks. So one by one, with the interaction with the Guru, I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am not husband, I am not wife, I am not male, I am not female, all that you remove. I am not object, I am neither the subject, I am pure self. That is your true face. Now, after the true face is seen, that's called Gnana. Now, your question is, why does a Gnani do anything after that? In this case, you are coming to the session. Maybe if there was an opportunity, if somebody approached you, you would probably do the session. Since you are not doing that, some avenue, something related to that, you are connecting with. After Gnana, there is, so I'll explain this as the karma, the residual data that's left in the mind, in the chitta. That is the fuel now for the body. That is why after Buddha has his awakening, he comes back and teaches. After Ramakrishna has the awakening, he teaches, he interacts with the world. Why he should do that? Why should, so when Buddha was a prince, he didn't do any work. But after his awakening, he spent all his time traveling, moving, walking, teaching, teaching, teaching. One theme of his life was teaching. Teaching, 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 Atmanana. Why he should do that?
That was the call from consciousness for him to pass on the information, knowledge.
That was the call. That was the seeking of existence. But the reality is that is the program of the body mind. So the one answer is, I'll give you all answers, the multiple answers. One answer is, there is some momentum that's already built up. You have only removed the cluttering moment, the cluttering impression. There's some other impressions left out. Like I told you, 21 days you sit in Nirvikalpa, all impressions are removed. Then you cannot forget about coming to class, you cannot even open your eyes. Okay? Because the body just dropped. That is called the death of the body and parinirvana. If that doesn't happen, that means there is some residual impression in the body to run the body. And who is running the body? Body is part of Maya. The Maya will just continue to keep up that residual impression. And whatever is predestined as a part of that residual impression will happen. In the case of Ramakrishna, it was part of the residual impression to teach, to inspire people, to pass on the teaching. Then as a part of the residual impression, he also had disease, and then he died. There's some residual impression. You have some residual impression of me coming in front of you and talking. As long as that impression is there, you'll come. Once that impression is burnt out, even if I come to you, you will not come. You will not open your eyes. So why you're doing it is because some residual impression. But the difference is, deep down, you don't take that residual impression to be real. This time around, it is there. Okay, something has to be there. It's not like nothing can be there, right? You have to have some interaction. You cannot not interact with the world. So whatever, because of your sadhana, because of your punya, you have the opportunity to keep the association with satsanga. You will keep that. Otherwise, what is, you have to plug somewhere, right? If not this, what is better than this to plug to in the material world? Where will you go? So that's what happened to Buddha's disciples. Buddha's disciples, many of them were arhants. They're called arihants. Arihant means enlightened one. Buddha had 10,000 enlightened people, disciples. Okay. And all of them were with Buddha. Wherever he goes, they'll follow. There's a huge army of 10,000 people who will follow him wherever he goes. Then once they all went to one place, then the host asked, these people, who are all these people? Buddha said, they're all my disciples. Okay, how long are they your disciples? Some have been for 1 year, 2 years, 10 years, 20 years. Then these people, this 20-year-old, 30-year-old person who is coming to you, he's still coming to you, then what hope do I have? Okay. Then Buddha said, I can't answer that question. You go and ask them, why are they coming behind me? I'm not going behind them. You go and ask them why they are coming behind me. This host goes and asks, interviews, does visual interview with all the people. Some person tells, oh, I was with Buddha for just 3 days and I got enlightened. And then I left my old life and I just want to be with him. And somebody said, I was Buddha for 1 year and after that I got enlightened. After that, I've just been here. So they say that at some point the awakening happened. After that, it's just, I'm just there with the master. Because now there's no duality. Master, me, there's no duality. And this is the only place where the highest is spoken. Now, if not this, what will I go to? Where will I go? Somewhere I have to go, right? Either I have to completely dissolve, dissipate, or if I'm in the world, I have to be somewhere. If I have to choose, consciously I choose this place because this is where Buddha speaks. This is where there's an enlightened one who speaks. Wherever I go, I have to hear ignorant people speak. Why on earth would I choose that? It becomes a choice. So you have a choice. You can come here, you get to hear the truth. But you can go anywhere else. It's a personal choice. There comes a time when, forget about people speaking ignorant. Even if you go and sit in some pravachan where the truth is not spoken, right? Core truth is not spoken, you will get disturbed. You'll go out of there. Somebody is doing some Bhagavad Gita session, but that's not in tune with the reality. You can understand and you will leave from there. That is the sharpness that will develop in the mind. These are all byproducts of jnana. It makes you more and more hopeless, useless. Did you get the answer, Sumanji?
Yes.
So don't think why I'm coming back. Don't make the desire for satsanga imply shortcoming in you. The desire for satsanga is your true space. It's like deep sleep. This is where there's God has created one place where I can be my true self. Where I can be without my thought patterns of the world. Because in the thought patterns of the world is what? Fight and flight. Office is fight and flight. That's why Bhagavad Gita starts with Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre Samaveta Yutsavaha. The world is a battlefield. Everywhere, office is battlefield, house is battlefield, school is battlefield, all are battlefield. There is a fight and flight. There is the other, there is stress. Satsanga, if it is really a satsanga, where the truth is spoken, is the only place where you are rest, where you are naturally at peace, where the best part of you comes out. Okay? Where the truth shines from you, where you know that the master in front of me sees me for myself, not for my body, not for my mind, not for my money, not for my any other characteristics. Now you tell me, where else in the world will you get that? The entire world will only see the skin. Satsang is the only place where you're seen as self. So much so that even if you tell I am not the self, you're told you are the self. In every other place, even if you tell I am the self, they'll tell no, you are not the self. You are not divine. You're an idiot. Satsang is the only place where you tell, even if I'm an idiot, no, you are the Paramatma. So obviously mind gets drawn to that. It's natural. My question to you is, why did you wait so long to do this? Any questions? Soumitra, now you can ask. Oh yeah, sorry, Sheshaji had a question.
Guruji, the vasanas that are remaining after the realization, you said it gets, I think, can we say there are two ways? One is the self-inquiry where it can be gets cleaned. And even sitting in the Nirvikalpa Samadhi means like initially there will be some amount of self-inquiry to clean them, isn't it? Can we say?
So cleaning and inquiry are different. Cleaning is called Chitta Shuddhi. Chitta Shuddhi is sadhana, yoga, meditation, everything. All that is Chitta Shuddhi. Purification of impressions. But they do not remove the ajnana. They only prepare you, make the mind silent so that you can receive jnana, but they do not remove ajnana. The only thing that removes ajnana is self-inquiry, which is Vichara, Atmajnana, from the Guru. Okay? Now what happens is, let's say there's a person who's not done any Chitta Shuddhi. Okay? Zero Chitta Shuddhi. But still, the jnana can penetrate to that and cut directly the root cause of ignorance. So Buddha gives an example of types of enlightenment. He tells two types of enlightenment happen. One is called Krama Mukti, other is called Sadhya Mukti. In Krama Mukti, he gives an example of a tree. There's a tree. You want to bring down the tree. So what you'll do, you'll cut the branches. One by one, you'll cut the branches. Then you'll cut from the top. And finally, you will bring the tree down to 1 feet. And then you'll uproot it. Okay, that's called Krama Mukti. Krama Mukti is a process where this person is going through sadhana. Okay, sadhana is purifying yourself, doing karma yoga, bhakti yoga, whatnot, all that. Then he's come to a point now with the jnana of the Guru, he's uprooted. The ignorance is uprooted. There is long indirect path. Now there's a direct path. In the direct path, Buddha tells the second way of uprooting is to directly take the instrument and drill into the root and uproot the tree. So when you uproot the tree, what happens? All the branches are still intact, but the tree is uprooted. That means you've removed the root ignorance that I am the body, I am the mind. But the body, mind will have its own tendencies. And the Gnani doesn't bother. Like example, Nisargadatta, there's a master called Nisargadatta Maharaj. He wrote a book called I Am That. Have you heard of him?
I have seen the messages
Yes.
in the group.
So Nisargadatta Maharaj used to smoke bidi. Okay, now you'll ask, oh, Gnani is smoking bidi. Right? So he's a Gnani, there's no doubt. But he's smoking bidi. Bidi is a part of the program of the body. It has nothing to do with realization. Okay, there were many Zen monks who used to drink alcohol. It's called a sake. Okay, so the patterns, the behavior of the body mind has nothing to do with Atmajnana. And this is clarified in this example of Sadhya Mukti and Krama Mukti.
All right. So the vasanas can be removed only through Vichara, and Vichara, like, until the realization and after the realization. So Vichara has until the realization.
Vasanas that are blocking enlightenment can be removed through Vichara alone.
Through Vichara alone.
Not all vasanas are blocking. Like you have a vasana to take care of your family. Right? That has nothing to do with enlightenment. But your vasana that I am the body is the problem. That's the difference. So why would you remove vasana of being in the family? People without understanding this remove the vasana of being in the family. Alva. So that is useless. You have to remove the vasana. I am the body. I am the doer. That can only be removed by vichara.
Okay, so the blocking vasanas needs to be removed through vichara, and that can happen only through Sadguru.
Yeah, correct.
Until the realization. And after the realization, whatever the vasanas are there, that can be removed through self-inquiry.
That then at that point it becomes a choice. If the Gnani decides to remove, he can remove. So Gnani, if he just sits more in absorption, all vasanas will get burnt out, body also will drop. Okay, the more and more the Gnani sits in state of the absolute, the vasanas get burnt out. But typically it doesn't happen because the byproduct of enlightenment is when the flower blossoms, what happens? The bees come. Okay, when the flower blossoms, the fragrance spreads and the bees will come. The moment the awakening happens, the Gnani becomes, one person becomes peaceful, he becomes attractive. People will start needing that. They come to him seeking blessing or teaching or whatever. And then the Gnani will choose to retain certain vasanas for Loka Kalyana. So I told you once example of Ramakrishna, right? He chose to keep the vasana of desire for sweets. So he said, if I drop the desire for sweets, my body will drop. And the same thing happened. When he had the cancer, he could no longer eat sweets. And then the body dropped. So he consciously holds a vasana versus vasana holding you. So in Ajnana,
holding you back.
In the Ajnana, vasana holds you and drives you. In Gnana, the Gnani consciously holds the vasana. Like Prabhuji, right? He is holding the vasana of, he's holding an identity of a teacher. The Gnani has no identity, zero identity. Even identity of a guru is not there. For a Buddha, I am Buddha, that identity also is not there. But because there is some people are seeking out of compassion, momentarily he takes on that identity. He takes it on. The identity doesn't take him. What happens if the identity takes him? Then if you don't do Namaskara, he gets hurt. Right? So that's the difference between I use the identity of a guru versus I am guru. If I am guru, then you have to speak to me in a certain way. If I'm using the identity of a guru, then it's an identity. I'm using it. It's a tool. So Prabhuji is using that identity of Sadguru. He's absolute. But he uses the identity to do work. Otherwise, the work will not happen, right? Loka Kalyana will not happen. Is that answer clear, Shishariji?
Yes, Guruji. Thank you.
Soumitra, you can ask a question now.
Yes, thank you. Question is a bit, I mean, not related to this particular thing, but kind of a query again. So I often kind of see that our culture, that is our Sanatan Dharma, or don't want to name it as such or label it, but whatever we have been through, right? We have got rishis, munis, scriptures, everything which helps you realize the self ultimately. And looking at that, our culture is one of the most oldest culture once again, right? With that all in mind, why don't India has the highest happiness index? Why don't we as Indians, basically, or the followers of Sanatan Dharma are not really happy about it and still perturbed? And why is countries like who do not at all follow these things, like Norway has the highest happiness index, the peace index, and everything else, right? So isn't it once again a relative thing?
So first of all, the measure, it's a good question. The question is, Bharat is the center of, is the oldest civilization, a center of the highest wisdom, is Jagat Guru, has always been and will always be. People from all over the world, whenever they seek anything real spirituality, they always come to Bharat. That proves, even in the modern day, like 2020, like now we can see, if you look at Mata Amritandamayi and the kind of reach that she has in all over the world, it's pretty very clear. Whenever somebody talks about enlightenment, liberation, mukti, the go-to place is scriptures, Indian scriptures and Indian gurus, and the Indian holy places. This being so, why then India doesn't top all the happiness surveys? Okay. The problem is, whoever is topping the survey, right? So any survey done, any study done, can you hear me? Any study done has various conditions, criteria, prerequisites. Okay. So when you compare when you do a comparison, first of all, you're doing a subjective analysis. And subjective analysis, can it be accurate?
No.
Forget subjective analysis. Can objective analysis be accurate?
No.
So the Newtonian science thought that objective analysis experimentation is absolute and accurate. So they said, if I observe an object, an atom, or any solid object, I can arrive at conclusions, because if I do an observation here on water, it's H2O. If I do an observation on H2O in Dublin, it's H2O, water. So I come to a conclusion. This is absolute. Science is absolute. Until the time quantum physics came. Quantum physics destroyed this whole premise. In the quantum realm, in the quantum realm, what happens is you go deeper than the atom. Okay, go to quantum particles. In one place, when there are two particles, if you observe, the particles are clashing with each other and bouncing off. Okay. In another experiment, the particles are going through each other. In another experiment, the particle is appearing, disappearing, appearing somewhere else. You understand, Soumitra?
Mm-hmm.
So the premise, when you change from the objective realm to a quantum realm, all the rules change. You understand?
Hmm.
So you can never compare the quantum realm with the objective realm. And in the quantum realm itself, there are no absolutes, because still today they have not been able to find out how those particles behave the way they do. The only conclusion that they have made, which they won a Nobel Prize for recently, you can Google it, 3 scientists won a Nobel Prize recently, because they proved that the universe is not real and local. Local means you're perceiving something right now, you feel it's here, but it's not here. It is here and in some part of the other part of the universe at the same time, and it's connected. Okay, and it's not real the way you perceive it. Now, in such a realm, in such a place, when there's no absolute, when the entities don't have any absoluteness, can they be measured? Can they be compared? Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
How can you compare to compare this pen and this pen? Both of them should have some function, form and function. Okay, in the objective sense. Okay, I should be able to hold it better. This is smoother. This writes better. Now, the moment I open the cap and I put it to the paper, if this changes to red color on its own, and the moment I open this cap and it changes its form, to harder, can you make a comparison? Can you make a comparison between dynamic entities?
No.
So then the whole happiness study, what is it? Huh?
Yeah. So it's not just about the index or the surveys. Basically, if you, I mean, I came from India to Dublin now. So I see people here, they are not entangled on these concepts of Veda, dualism, non-dualism, and they seem to be happy. Though it might be ignorance at their level.
I'm coming. This is first part of my answer. I'll come to that. Tackle that. Okay. So this part is clear.
Yes.
So first, I'm telling about any surveys done like this. It's they have no. They're all very relative and they have no value. Okay. Ultimately, life is your subjective experience, right?
Yes.
So now let's look at India. So why I said this is the same people who scored probably the best happiness marks in that study, you put them in a different situation, the things might be different. Okay, you put them probably in the same ecosystem as some other country, then their index, like you take let's speak about somebody like Norway, you put them in Syria, what will be their situation? Or imagine you take somebody from the land of milk and honey, America, put them in where there's freedom of speech and freedom and all that. Put them in Iran. You know what is happening in Iran? What happens to them? Where do all their values and experiences go? Right. So when you change the context, all that becomes immaterial. In that sense, India is a very unique place. India is called Karma Bhumi. Okay. So to answer your question about there's somebody in some part of the world where there is more luxuries, no doubt Dublin is more cleaner, air is fresh, the opportunity to be more peaceful and happy is more there. Okay. Whereas in India, it's a little more, not all the cities are crowded, too much people and all that. So what are the answer that is given by our ancestors is India is called Karma Bhumi. It's called Deva Bhumi. Okay. For enlightenment, and the most number of enlightened people have come out of which part of the country or world?
India. Yeah.
India, right? Because India is a place, it's a holy place, the whole region. One is it is geographically also in a certain way, and there's a divine connection. It enables the life here is difficult in general. There's so much population, there's a lot of variety, and India naturally, wherever you go, you see it's very easy to find the image of Shiva on the road. It's very easy to find some meditative posture, yoga, all these things. It's a good ecosystem for enlightenment and liberation, simply because those teaching mechanisms are present here in form of images, in form of sound, in form of the culture, in form of festivals. All these attributes provide a better opportunity for people to think about enlightenment and make the journey, and if they meet a master, hopefully meet the end. Now, it's not that in the other part of the world, simply because that is what they seek as a collective country or collective part of society. So the collective consciousness of India, the deep-rooted seeking is enlightenment. So the collective consciousness of some other part of the world is something else. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
What is the collective call of, let's say, a country like America?
Over freedom.
No. If the collective call was freedom, they would aspire for mukti, because mukti is real freedom.
Luxury.
Their collective call is sense pleasure. That is why their collective God is Father. You know why they worship Father in the heaven, right? They collectively worship the Father. See, you understand what is people's aspiration by their role model. Who is the biggest role model for the society? Is what is their aspiration. The biggest role model is Father in the heaven. The Father in the heaven will give you whatever you want. Father's job is to provide. That's why they're also so prosperous. So there's a notion that if I go to America, I become very rich. Okay, which happens also. Whatever you believe will happen. So their collective consciousness is after more sense pleasure, more expansion, more wealth. Okay, what is the collective consciousness of India? Who are the high standards in India? Who is the role model in India?
Spirit. I mean, yeah.
Guru.
Consciousness. Truth. Huh? Yeah.
So the highest place that is given to any entity in India is Guru.
Yeah. No. While all this is understood and true, why, even though India has a collective, let's say, consciousness around awareness of truth and everything, right? Why do we see that India is the most devastated country, depending on all those things, right? And for example, I mean, people are relatively more happier if they don't even think about duality, non-duality, right? I mean, again, just on the same lines, we can say that we have been programmed in such a way in this particular geopolitical region that we are so much told to think about truth, awareness, duality, non-duality. So we are trapped in that, and we kind of rename it as spirit and spirituality.
No,
if you
no.
see
So what happens is, one correction there.
Okay.
People are happy, generally happier there is your assumption. So you have to understand the nature of life. One principle is, without Atma Gnana, without Gnana, no matter what you have, you're not happy. The nature of the mind, as long as the mind exists, there is no happiness. I'm not talking about, so you have to understand between happiness, which is temporary, which just comes and goes, with bliss. Okay. So without, as long as the mind is there, mind can never be in bliss. No matter which part of the world you are, no matter what you have, what facilities you have, people, that's why you're talking about a country, you're talking about countries that worship the principle that teaches that everybody has to carry their own cross. Have you heard this?
Yes.
You know what is the meaning of that?
Yep.
That means everybody is fighting their own demons.
Yeah.
And this is told in their country, their people. So that it appears to you because of the skin color and all that. If they smile, they probably look more happier versus if some Indian smiles. But in general, everybody, regardless of which part of the world, human nature is black. If without gnana, life is miserable. All happiness is temporary. Agree or disagree?
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely.
Okay. In India, what happens? In India, you recognize that there's an opportunity to recognize that and come out of it. In fact, I would say it is a big suffering to be born anywhere else in the world. So our scriptures say, first, greatest fortune is to be born as a human being. To get a human birth is almost close to impossible. Okay? It's almost impossible to get a human birth. Let's say you get a human birth. It is a rare fortune to be born in Bharat, in India. Because this is the land of gurus, sages, devatas. That means it is a misfortune to be born anywhere else. But all that now has changed because of the grace of God. We have internet and all that. Knowledge and wisdom is accessible from any part of the world. So significantly, it has all changed. But the point that you made about why India is like this right now is you have to go a little bit into history. India was not like this always. What happened to India was India got attacked by after the Mahabharata war. So in Mahabharata war, what happened in 5,000 years ago? Many of the evil rulers were destroyed. The war killed a lot of people, and the Pandavas became the rulers. And there was peace and harmony for a very long time, many years. Then when the Kali Yuga started, India, so the rulers, the wisdom that India had started getting lost for whatever reason. People got too when things get too comfortable, you go into a comfort zone, and the focus is lost. When the focus is lost, the Kshatriyas, the warriors and the kings, they became weak in the sense they lost their notion of what they have to do, their responsibility. And then the invasion started happening, and the invaders are smart. They understood what is the wealth of the country. The wealth is in the gnana. So they systematically attacked the education system. So Kashmir at that time, was the center of wisdom for the world. Okay, not just India. People from all over the world used to come to Kashmir to study. And that was the place that were attacked. So there was a Mughal called this guy, I think Ghazni, forgot his name. He killed. So you know what is the Janwara holy thread? Have you seen holy thread?
Yes.
So it's called a Janwara.
Yeah.
Okay. So this, how much do you think this weighs? Weight 10 grams.
Yeah.
10 grams.
Yeah.
So he killed so many people, so many scholars, gurus in Kashmir, so that the weight of that, the amount of Janwaras that he had, was 600 tons. 600 tons. Imagine how many people he would have killed. Okay, so that was destroyed by the emperors. Then, and you know what happened later in the Kashmir region. Systematically, the people were wiped out, and same thing happened throughout the country. Various attacks, people retaliated. The Marathas retaliated. So many other people retaliated. The Guru Gobind Singh and the army, all of them fought. So there was all this happening, but the country itself was in constant war for a very long time. Okay, and then the British rule happened. So, and even when the British came, there is a survey that was done. When the British guy presented a report telling that if we have to make this country a slave, we have to first destroy the Gurukuls in the country. So they systematically removed the Gurukuls, killed the teachers, removed the Gurukuls, conversion and all that. So now imagine so much attack, so much destruction is brought upon you. And you have no way to fight, and you have to go through all that. So it takes some recovery time. So now we're in the recovery period. We're still recovering from all that. And even now it's going on. Even now, India has many forces that are attacking it in many ways. They target children, they brainwash, conversion is happening. It's a very difficult socio-political situation. But the spirit of the country is the grace of the saints, the masters, the gurus that have walked this place will keep reinventing itself and coming in various ways to protect and uplift the people. And that will continue for now and time immemorial. So why, the question to why is this? The answer is this.
Mhm.
The answer is simply because of the history of all the trauma that the country went through. And it's not ordinary trauma. It's mind-boggling statistics of how this country was targeted, destroyed. You tell me which country has survived. No country in the world has survived 1,000 years of war. No country. 100, 200 years, they'll get wiped out. The country will only disappear. India has survived 1,000 years of war. 1,000 years of war. Can you imagine? To survive 1,000 years of war is a great thing. And to retain all that wisdom is another, it's not human, it's divine grace. In the Nalanda University in this country, where again people from all over the world used to come, the entrance to that university, was the entrance exam.
Mhm.
The entrance exam is the gatekeeper. The gatekeeper will ask you a question from whichever part of the world you come from, and he was a master of 64 subjects. The dean of the university knew 184 subjects. Okay, so he would ask question. If you answer, he'll let you in. Otherwise, no. And when the Mughals attacked and destroyed it, it took them a few months to burn all the books that was in that university. Months to burn books. Imagine how many books were there. Now, what will happen to the country if you destroy that educational wealth? And you talk about, you're comparing to countries like European countries now. Something happens in Europe. You think those countries can survive?
Mhm.
India is self-sufficient. Okay? In India, you can survive. Even if you're on the street, you can live the entire year. In that country, if I put you on the street, how many days? Will you survive all seasons?
Mhm.
You can't. In India, 365 days you can survive on the street. Okay? Food, if you don't get some temple will give you food. That's why India is called Punya Bhumi. It's not a ordinary place. Okay? India, it has for thousands of years protected the world, not just its own people. Even if you take the example of this COVID time, all these so-called great developed countries didn't share their vaccines or resources with other countries. But India supplied to many parts of the world. That's, of course, luckily we have a good leadership. But that's the spirit of the country, right? That is the beauty of Bharat. Any doubts? So what they say is there are many lokas, 7 lokas, right? Bhuloka, Bhorloka, Janaloka, Maharloka, Tapurloka, Satyaloka. And there are higher level lokas and there are lower level lokas. Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Rasatala, Juratala, Patala. Don't think these lokas are some different geographies. They're all in the world. Like if you're in some war-torn zone, you're in Naraka. You're practically in Pratala. Every day you're in deep fear. Your arm is lost, your leg is lost, your eye is lost, your wife is killed, your son is killed in front of you. It's Naraka. You're in Bhumi, but you're in Naraka. Okay. So Swarga is where you're in heaven. So equivalent to probably America or some place. You're in Bhumi, but you're in Swarga. You have money, sex, drugs, all that. India is the best Bhumi for Atmagna. It's called Devaloka. You can find gurus here. You can find God here. If you want to see God in human form, you can find. You can find Gnana here. You can find Bhakti here. Ganga is here. Ganga is not anywhere else. Kailash is here. Okay. Another part of your question is, the question itself is arising. It's not the question's fault. It's also, again, the point where I told is because of the attacks. You, me included, don't know the real history. Okay. We've been taught, our education system systematically has erased all the glory of the country and made us study about only Mughal rulers and all sort of nonsense. Okay. An average Hindu always will, average person in the Sanatana Dharma will always question, can easily get shaken because he's targeted, he or she is targeted. And it's not a one-day thing. It's been happening for a very long time, very systematically. Imagine religions and parts of the world whose only focus is to destroy your ecosystem. When your ecosystem is completely opposite. India in the history never has waged a war against another country on its own. Never. Can you tell that about any other part of the world? So to be born as a human is a great privilege. To be born in this country is even greater privilege. And the greatest privilege is if you get a Sadguru. There ends your journey.
Thank you.
Don't fall for all this nonsense, okay? Don't fall for any nonsense that people talk to undermine or to insult Sanatana Dharma. It is a strategy, it is an attack. Intuitively, you know, how can a culture of peace not be the best? I wish I had better communication skills, talk more powerfully about the glory of Bharat. So maybe through the course of Tripura Rahasya, I seek from the Divine Mother the blessing to talk about the country. Atmagnana I can talk. Atmagnana I have mastered. But someday I wish I can talk about the country.
This was great. Thank you, Krishna.
Any doubts? Shall we close? Long session today.
Yes.
Pranams, Hari Om.
Hari Om Krishna ji.
Hari Om Guruji.
Hari Om Guruji.
Thank you.
Hari Om Krishna ji. Thank you so much.
Hari Om.
Hari Om Krishna. Thank you.